Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here. I got another Master Duel video for you, and it's Monday, which means it is time yet again for one of our weekly viewer specials. If you are new to the channel or just this series in general, first of all, welcome. Glad to have you here. And second of all, I'll give you a rundown of what we do. Every week here on Mondays, we showcase replays from you all, the viewers. It's a great chance to not only check out some decks or strategies I might not always have time to explore, but more importantly, we can come together and cheer each other on during these games. So if you are interested in getting in on the viewer special, if you want to submit a replay, you're going to want to head down to the description below. There you're going to find an invite link to our Discord server, the Hexlexplex. Once you are in there, you're going to want to drop your 9-digit player ID in the viewer special submissions channel, and that way I can see your publicly saved games. If you've got a specific duel you want me to see, make sure you're leaving your opponent's name or the date and time, just something where I know that's the one you want me to watch. But that's pretty much all there is to it. So let's go ahead and get right on into some of your games. All right, our first game comes to us from Super Dark Aqua, who is going to be on Predaplant. I think it's going to be... What was it, this one? Hang on, actually, let me take a look at the Discord again here. Yes, okay. So it was this game from the Fusion Cup. Yeah, unfortunately, in-game, I'm not able to see the deck list because it is a cup, not a festival, and during cups like the Duelist Cup and the current Fusion Cup, they don't actually let you look at deck lists in-game. But Super Dark Aqua did post their deck list in the Discord server if you're interested. Looks like we are rocking the new Dominus Spark alongside, of course, the latest wave of Predaplant cards. And the Feta Dragna, I believe, is also out now. That should be over here in the extra deck. Is it this one? Yes. Feta Dragna, or Fata Dragna? Not sure which it is. But this is a pretty nice buff to not just Predaplant, but Fusion decks in general. So let's see it in action here. We're going to begin with Princess Dracania, dumping the Biblisp, and then we're going to grab the Darlington Cobra. Scorpion dumps the Cobra, summons out the Spider, which adds the Predapruning, and now we get to Synchro for 4, which of course is going to make the Predaplant level 4 Synchro Balte. Now we can revive the Darling Cobra, which can then add the Super Duper Polymerization from our deck to our hand. Now we can Synchro for level 7. It's going to make the Clear Wing Synchro Dragon. Ooh, we even got the Royal as well. Very nice. Now we can summon out the Feta Dragna with the Super Duper Poly, and we can fuse into the Starving Venom Wing Dragon. Now Dragna F gets to activate, and we can summon out Albion from the extra deck. Certainly very powerful. Predaprimitive is going to add the Instant Fusion at this point. And now Instant Fusion is going to activate by paying 1,000 life points. We are summoning out the level 5 Predaplant Synchro, Amblumelidis. Listen, I'm trying these Predaplant names, I really am. Lily Lizard comes down, we grab Fusion Substitute, and that gets to activate, letting us Fusion Summon. We're going to fuse the Albion and the Princess Dracania into Predaplant Dragostapelia. Now Fusion Substitute gets to activate. We're going to put back the Feta Dragna, and we get a card draw. Alright, now we get to reset the Polymerization, or rather the Fusion Substitute, and we're going to fuse yet again. It's going to be the Starving Venom Fusion Dragon, 4 Heavenly Dragons this time. Alright, now we're going to revive the Clearwing Synchro Dragon from the graveyard and pass. Of course, during the end phase, we also get to use Albion to set up the Fallen and the Virtuous. Very, very powerful end board here. Again, that Feta Dragna definitely really did help things there. All right, Bestial Magnum Hut coming down. We're going to negate the effect with Clearwing Synchro Dragon. Our opponent's going to chain the Fallen and the Virtuous, targeting Dragostapelia, but we're going to chain our Starving Venom for Heavenly Dragons, which will allow us to Fusion Summon using itself and the Dragostapelia in order to make another Dragostapelia. Now Clearwing Synchro Dragon negates and destroys the Magnum Hut while also gaining its attack points. Nadir Servant's coming down from our branded opponent next. They're going to dump Garura and got the Guiding Quem. Now Garura gives a card draw. Albion the Shrouded Dragon is going to dump Branded and High Spirits. And here is Incredible Ecclesia the Virtuous, followed by normal summon Quem. We're going to chain Starving Venom Winged Dragon, and our opponent's going to chain Incredible Ecclesia. However, we can use Dragostapelia in order to negate the Quem. Also changes Quem's level to 1 for whatever that's worth, which isn't too much. Now Winged Dragon pops the Albaz that got summoned, and Quem gets negated. Alright, Cartesia coming down from hand. We're going to use the Winged Dragon effect to negate that. They're going to set 2, and then end phase, Albion sets the Fallen and the Virtuous. We've got our own Fallen and the Virtuous to use. We're going to pop their Cartesia. And of course, because Quem's negated, it can't revive the Albaz here. Now they do still get to add back the Incredible Ecclesia, as well as the Cartesia, because of course it is in their graveyard. Might have been better to have popped on our draw phase. I don't know if that actually makes that much of a difference though. There's Branded and High Spirits getting added back. And now going into our turn, they're going to flip up Fallen of the Virtuous right away on our Dragostapelia. We get to use the Starving Venom Winged Dragon effect to pop a card here. That being one of the remaining face down cards, which was Branded Retribution. Quem F going to activate because the Dragostapelia is gone. It does get to resolve. Fallen of Albaz being summoned, dumping Branded and High Spirits, but we are chaining Fallen and the Virtuous in order to pop their Fallen of Albaz. They get to respond with Branded Retribution to add back their Fallen and Virtuous, but of course, they can't use it from their hand during our turn. Alright, there goes Albaz. Now going into our turn, we're going to activate that Predapruning, reviving the Dragostapelia. Fusion Substitute will then activate, letting us draw a card. Normal summon the Spider. It's going to get hit with the Dominus Purge. Purge in a branded deck is quite interesting. Alright, we get to reset our Fusion Substitute. And we're going to move straight to battle phase, as we should have... Oh, it's not quite lethal, but I mean, we've still got a lot of disruption on our board here. Oh, it's so close. We're only 400 off. We're going to set the Impulse, and then during the end phase, they get to add Branded Fusion off the Albalanatus. They set that off Fallen the Virtuous earlier. Here's Branded and High Spirits, back to their hand, and now it's back to their turn. Draw phase Branded and High Spirits, revealing Incredible Ecclesia, dumping Granganol, and then adding the Mercurier. It's like Fallen and Virtuous also coming down during the draw phase, popping the Predapruning, which gets rid of the Dragostapelia. Now Cartesia is going to summon. Here's Branded Fusion, but we are negating that with the Dominus Impulse. On top of that, we also get to use the Starving Venom Winged Dragon effect. So now we get to pop the Cartesia here as well. So no Cartesia Fusion, no Branded Fusion. Looks like that's about all our opponents got left. Sure, they can add back Incredible Ecclesia, but it's not really going to do much good for them. Neither is the Cartesia they're adding back as well. Alright, going into our move, and they are just going to concede. Good stuff. Predaplant not only setting up using the new Fata Dragna, but also playing the grind game and winning against Branded in the process. Good stuff. Thank you very much, Super Dark Aqua. Let's check out this next replay. Alright, our next replay comes to us from Rag, who actually has a going second game, and it's going to be this one here. We are going to be on Radiant Typhoon Zodiac with the now semi-limited Rat Pierre, and our opponent is going to be on Sky Striker. Taking a look at their list here, looks like it is a pure list with Upstart Goblins. All right, and also, of course, Fallen of the Virtuous. No crown. That's what I was looking for. I don't see the Forbidden Crown. This person must not have pulled it just yet. Or actually, it looks like this replay might be from before the new pack dropped, but we'll go ahead and take a peek here. All right, so they're going to be going first, and if it's Sky Striker, they threaten to set up Ace 0 with like 4 or 5 face down cards. We do get to draw phase Perulia. Unfortunately, this isn't a matchup where Droplet is like the best, but... Ooh, there's the Triple Tactics Thrust, but we don't control any monsters, so they're just going to set a talent they can't use. All right, they're going to go Vision, draw 2, discard the Lemniscate, normal summon Ray. It's going to give us a draw. Activating Ray's F, we can chain Fuelos to get another draw. It's going to be very nice. And let's see what we end up drawing off this summon. I imagine they're going to go for Ace 0. Yeah. We're finding Radiant Typhoon Vision. They are going to, of course, add the Engage, which they are then going to activate. They're going to add Widow Anchor. Draw another card. Another Engage to follow up that one for another Widow Anchor. Makes you wonder if they already have another Lemniscate, or maybe they were only playing one. I thought I saw 2, but... Alright, looks like they had the talents anyway. They're going to draw a couple of cards here. Here's Reinforcement of the Army. Adding another copy of Ray. And then Pot of Desires following that up. Sure enough, they are going to set 4 more cards and then pass. So, 2 of them are definitely going to be Widow Anchor. Can pretty reasonably guess that. We're going to go draw phase Fuelos and then also go for the Vision. I do like the Fua here because they have Ace 0 plus Raise effect, so reasonably likely to assume they'll get multiple searches. Or we'll get multiple draws, rather. Alright, we MST'd one of the face down cards, which end up being a Widow Anchor. They're going to chain another Widow Anchor, and we get to chain Droplet. So now the Ace 0 is just outright negated, which is going to be very, very nice for us. Of course, this also means the Crocea gets to resolve. We're going to add MST, as well as Radiant Typhoon Chant. I really like that we're doing all of this during the draw phase. Definitely optimal play here to make sure that we are not falling susceptible to the Droll Lockbird. Also just getting all these back rows out of the way before we even have to commit to making plays. Drawing Meghala off the Fuelos. We also get to summon out the Varun. They're going to summon Rose from their hand. So I don't even know if they would have been able to use the Ace 0 effect anyway. Depends if they have a second Rose in their deck. Yeah, Kagari adding back the Engage for them. Now we're going to summon Eldum. Eldum for Swen. Special Swen. Swen F is going to add another Vision. Now we're going to go Meghala, activate Vision. Draw 2, discard Chant. Meghala F. Yeah, we can't do Zodiac stuff because we already used Crocea during the draw phase, but I think that's totally fine, especially for going second in a scenario like this. I definitely, especially because we didn't even have like Rat Pierre in our hand or anything, I really do think that we should have valued, and we did. I'm really glad that we valued, you know, clearing out their back row and getting advantage during the draw phase over trying to force a Zodiac play. Alright, so Phonics will put their cards back. We get to even use the Varun to negate the Ray, which is going to try to activate. Link 2 Varun also has the Mandate set up for us. We get to use the Mandate's effect in order to draw and also buff here as well. Alright, moving to battle phase. Don't quite have an OTK. Sometimes Radiant Typhoon kind of struggles to OTK opponents, but what it lacks in the OTK, it can definitely more than make up for in the grind game. Going to get another draw, finding us Droll and Lockbird. We got a couple of hand traps, Fallen of the Virtuous, and of course we also have the Varun, which can act as a monster negate. They're going to go for a Kagari here. Kagari F is going to activate, and they get to also use the Lemniscate effect. Interesting. So they're going to link summon right away, turning the Kagari into Hayate. And of course, Kagari is going to add back an Engage. Now we're going to go for Fallen and the Virtuous. Popping the Hayate, they're going to chain Linkage. So that way they get to send it away for another Link monster, which is going to be another Ace 0. But we get to use the Phonics effect. They're going to, or we're going to target the Ace 0. They're going to chain another Linkage. Are they going to summon out a third Ace 0? No, it's Shizuku this time. And now they're going to activate Engage. Okay, there's Lemniscate. It is kind of curious that they didn't search that during their last turn, that they grabbed a second Widow Anchor instead. We're going to droll them after that. They're going to use the Lemniscate at this point. for, is that 6 of each? Wow. We're gonna chain Ghost Bell. That's brutal. Wow, that is a brutal Ghost Bell. Yeah, that would have bounced our whole field if it had resolved, so that was an excellent Ghost Bell. Our opponent already down to 9 cards left in deck 2. They're definitely on the verge of running out of resources. End of phase, we're going to go for Albion, setting Fallen of the Virtuous. They don't even get a Shizuku search because they don't have anything left to search. And yeah, that's going to be it for them. So it just goes to show that, you know, even Sky Striker, a deck which is known for its grind game, in the right scenario, definitely does not hold a candle to Radiant Typhoon. Not even the right scenario. I'd argue Radiant Typhoon tends to have a really good Sky Striker matchup with its ability to pop the back row with MST. They have a lot of quick play spells, which obviously will trigger our stuff like Crocea and Phonix and Varun. So yeah, I think that was a pretty solid. It's a pretty solid matchup overall, and that was a very, very good game as well. We have time for one more, so let's finish off with that last one. And our last game comes to us from Trey. Trey has an 11-turn replay, 11 turns, double digit. Had to see this one. We're going to be on Cool Tune post-ban list. Oh, actually, no. Looks like this one is from right before Q and Synchro got semi-limited. Still rocking a playset of overtunings here. And our opponent is going to be on, yet again, Sky Striker. So this one's going to be a real grind game here. We do get to go first, which is nice. Let's see how this one plays out. All right, what does our opening hand look like here? We got Mix, Overtuning, and Synchro alongside a couple of hand traps. Valor being one of them could very easily end up mattering here. Of course, the Maxi that they begin with is definitely not the best sign for us. We're going to Cool Tune Synchro, grab the Q, Rotary, extra normal summon the Q, and we're not using the Q effect. We're just going to Synchro summon for level 4, making the Cool Tune Trackmaker. We gave them one draw. Now Trackmaker and Rotary both get to activate, as well as the Q, of course. Looks like we're choosing a chain block with the Q because they haven't used Ash Blossom yet. We see evenly and engage. It's a pretty easy engage there. Whoops. That went by really quickly, but I saw engage, I saw Rhoda, I saw a couple of monsters, and I think I saw Triple Tactics Talon as well. So now we're adding both Cool Tune Synchro and Rekko. We're going to go for an overtuning, summoning Rekko from our deck. Rekko F is going to activate. We're going to add a clip. Now we're going to Synchro Summon yet again, making a level 7. And this one is going to be the Zaylin, the Shackled Dragon. Setting Cool Tune Synchro, we're now passing. Okay, so we know they have evenly, among other cards. Here's Fallen of the Virtuous. We're going to chain Cool Tune Synchro, and they're going to chain Ash Blossom to our Cool Tune Synchro. Now we're going to use Zaylin to negate the first effect, which is going to negate the Ash Blossom. I imagine our plan was to negate the Fallen of the Virtuous with Zaylin, but because they chained Ash Blossom, that became, unfortunately, no longer possible. But we still get our Cool Tune Synchro search all the same. Alright, sure enough, they did have Rhoda. They're going to add Rose from deck to hand. Normal summon Ray. Rose F to special summon, and I imagine this will be Ace 0. No, it's a Zeke. Alright, Sky Striker Ace Zeke is going to banish the Mix. Now we get to fire off the Fuelos. Very nice. They're going to summon Pillar of Future Cyanos, dumping Lemniscate to do it. Send it to give Zeke 1,000 attack. Now they can activate Engage because they don't have anything in the main monster zone. It looks like they're trying to go for an OTK here, potentially, but we have Cool Tune Clip, which we can then synchro with the Rekko that's in our hand. And now we have Cool Tune RS, which if they were trying to OTK, this is definitely going to complicate things. Let's see, what did that clip end up ripping from the extra deck there? It was Hayate, okay. Now they're going to go for Amatsu, popping both. Cyanos gets to activate. Summoning back Rose. Now they're going to link off Rose into the Kagari. This will make for an excellent Valor target. And sure enough, we are negating. That way they can't, of course, grab back the Engage. And we're looking pretty good going into our next turn. They obviously won't have a maxi again, but they do have 3 face down cards, and of course, Albion also lets them set the Fallen and the Virtuous. So we are definitely strapped in for the grind game. I mean, 11 turn replay. I always had to figure this was going to be the case, but... Alright, we're going to Duelist Genesis for Overtake, Synchro, Overtake, Reveal, RS, Revive, Recco. Now Recco gets to activate. They're going to chain Fallen and the Virtuous to pop the Recco. Now we still get the Search, of course. It doesn't negate or anything. We're going to add back Rotary from our graveyard, but now we can't use it as a material, which of course would pop more of their back rows. We're going to normal summon Q, activating the effect. They're chaining the linkage here. They're going to send away Kagari for the Ace 0. And now Q is actually going to end up reviving the RS from the graveyard. Very nice. Ace 0 is going to activate, popping the RS. Unfortunately, if I remember right, RS has to negate something on the field. Yeah, face-up card your opponent controls. So we're unable to negate the Ace 0 with the RS, but we're still looking not too bad here. They're going to use Lemnis Gate to Synchros or Link Summon right away into Shizuku. We still got the Overtuning though, and that's going to revive the RS yet again. Now we're going to tune the Q in hand with the Rotary, or the Q on field rather with the Rotary in hand, making Trackmaker. Trackmaker, Chainlink 1, Q, Chainlink 2. And they don't have any cards in their hand, so unfortunately Rotary just has to put a card on the bottom of the deck. But we can at least put back their Ray. Now Q reveals Thrust and Droll on top. We're going to banish Thrust and keep Droll on top. We're top decking JJ Cool Tune ourselves, which we will then activate. Or no, we searched that. Sorry, we didn't draw that. Now we can extra normal summon Mix, add back Recco from our graveyard. Now we're going to go Trackmaker plus Mix into the Loudness War. And that lets us use both Mix and Trackmaker's effects. Now we're going to end up popping the Shizuku. And we're going to bounce one of the face down cards. Ray gets to activate. We're going to chain Loudness War, copying the Trackmaker. And that'll let us bounce the other face down card. Now we normal summon Recco, and we can battle over their Sky Striker monsters. Alright, so now they just have the 2 cards that were face down, one of which was evenly. Yeah, that's right. I had forgotten about that, honestly. It's actually not that big of a deal, though, in the grand scheme of things. We get to keep our RS. Mix comes back. Ooh, but they have a Klessia and the Dark Dragon in the graveyard, so there goes the RS. They get to pop our Mix as well. Normal summoning that Droll and Lockbird we gave them, which is going to end up going into the Sky Crisis. Battle phase Sky Crisis swings in for 2,900, and now we are in a top deck war. But it's one where opponent currently has the advantage with the Sky Crisis in hand. Unfortunately, Fidralis Harmonia doesn't do anything right away, but they could potentially end up activating an effect here. No, they're just going to set, swing in, and then pass. We draw, find Ash Blossom, which we are forced to set because we're only at 2,200 life points. Alright, now they're going to activate the Sky Crisis effect, and this is where the Harmonia is going to come in. We're going to reveal a bunch of Synchro monsters from the extra deck. And now we can dump one, but more importantly, we can also pop the Sky Crisis. And we're also dumping the Wind Pegasus at Ignister off the Fidralis Harmonia. That'll be nice if our opponent does manage to have the ability to swing in for lethal. The face down card ended up being Lemnis Gate. It's going to bounce back the Harmonia, which is actually not the worst thing in the world, potentially. Upstart Goblin didn't seem to find them too much here. We're top decking Cool Tune Synchro, using it during the draw phase to find the Q. Now we can normal summon Q, Q effect. We're going to revive Zaylin from the graveyard, and now we can Synchro summon into the Cool Tune back to back. We are quite literally 100 damage short of lethal, which is unfortunate, but wow, what a Q! We saw Engage followed by Solemn Judgment, meaning they would have top decked Engage, but we can banish it and leave them to top deck Solemn Judgment. That is insane. They're going to set Solemn and then send it with Linkage It's going to let them get Kagari. They're going to move to battle phase, crash the 3200 Kagari into back-to-back, which will let them revive Ray, which can attack directly, and then now Ray Effect is going to activate, but that lets us activate our Fidralis Harmonia. So now we reveal more Cool Tune monsters, plus Itting Master Pack-Bit. Fidralis Harmonia is summoned to the field. We're going to send the Pack-Bit, and now they're going to summon out Ace Zero. We're going to use Pack-Bit's effect. We're going to push back the Ace Zero, which chains, but then we simply chain the Ash Blossom. Oh, that is so good. Wow, every single action, every single card that we had access to ended up mattering here. And it's a good thing the Pack-Bit wasn't a cost. But now we get to swing in for lethal with the Fidralis Harmonia, thus ending this back and forth 11-turn grind game. Good stuff. Thank you very much for sending that in, Trey. Very, very much appreciated. I appreciate everybody who submitted. Even if you didn't get featured, there is always next week and the ones after as well, because like I said, we do this every single Monday. But I really do gotta thank everybody who submitted, because without any submissions, we would not be able to do the viewer special, which is definitely one of, if not my favorite series that we do on the channel. Definitely the longest running here too, but that's going to end up doing it for now. Thank you so very much for watching. Let's also make sure that we thank our YouTube members and Patreon subscribers here in the outro. Hey everybody, Hexlex here. Thank you so very much for watching all the way to the very end of the video, which by the way is one of the best ways to support the channel. Speaking of supporting the channel, take a look at the names on screen. These are folks who have been so generous as to either join as a YouTube member or subscribe over on patreon.com/Hexlex to support. There's also perks for doing so. If you would like to see YouTube videos early, as well as some exclusive videos that get uploaded to YouTube, but for one reason or another I decide not to publish, definitely go ahead and hit that join button to see content early, as well as some exclusive content. If you're looking for more exclusive content, over on patreon.com, I upload exclusive videos that are not posted on YouTube just about every single day. Whether you choose to subscribe over on Patreon, join as a YouTube member, or simply continue to watch, your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you so very much. But for now, this is Hexlex. I am signing out, and I hope that you have a fantastic day.